How do you go about plotting a book?
I start, well, I have an initial idea which can come from a variety of sources, but with a suspense plot, I tend to try to start with the solution. I mean, early on, I know what the crime is, but I know what the solution is, and then I work backward to how that's going to be muddied up, who else will be involved, and then as I'm working out the details, I start writing down revelations and plot points and scenes that have to happen on index cards, and I lay them out on my kitchen table or my dining room table or my living room floor where my cats walk all over them and mess them up. And I can shuffle things around, like, okay, what would happen if this scene occurred here? What would happen if it occurred later? What would happen if this revelation came before this revelation, or the order was reversed? And then I'll come up with snippets of dialogue to go in different particular scenes, and I'll sometimes put those down on the cards, and eventually the structure of the book starts to emerge.
Do you always have the plot worked out before you start writing your books?
I have it fairly well worked out. It does change. I'll sometimes start writing some initial, very early scenes as I'm still working out the plot. Sometimes have something to show to my editor, or just sort of get a feel for the story. But I usually have the plot fairly well worked out before I start writing.
Do you have any examples of like an instance where it's changed, where the plot has changed
Right.
after you started writing?
Well, Beneath the Silent Moon originally was going to begin in Scotland. The whole London part wasn't going to be there. And my editor actually felt that it needed a bigger scope, and it would be better for it to start in London and also that it began really with the initial crime. And she felt, and I think she was right, that you needed to see more of the build up to that and the people before the crime happened, and the story needed to start earlier. So that definitely shifted. Tommy Belmont's role shifted. Without too many spoilers, he ended up playing a slightly different role than I envisioned at first. Giselle, Charles's sister, ended up having a slightly more complicated motivation than I originally envisioned for her, which I liked a lot, but that didn't occur to me until I was in the midst of writing the book.